Good morning, everybody. Sorry, it's taken me a minute this morning, but hey, I just wanted to hop on today because I've been doing a little bit different lives. First of all, my name is Misha, and I'm here to help you understand that there's one thing at the root of most all of our disease and disorder today, and that thing is insulin resistance. And if we can naturally take care of the insulin resistance, then maybe we can get control of a number of health issues. It's certainly what happened for me, and it set me on this path of looking for answers and trying to figure out why I had gotten sick and how easy it was to get better. So that's what we're going to go over. And in all truth, I'm going to be talking about the Feel Great system because after I had doctors tell me they couldn't help me, after I did keto and veganism and the medical medium and all this stuff, none of that was working. But in a last ditch effort, I tried these two real food products that I just drank at 3 points during the day, and it changed everything. Reversed my diabetes, my hypertension, helped me lose 50 pounds, and just on and on down the road. Skin tags are gone, brain fog, all of that. So, you guys, if there's anything going on with you medically or physically that you think, like you've been to your doctor for, you've been, asking and you're not getting questions and you're not really getting any answers. Metabolic scientists and some doctors are saying that we're going undiagnosed or misdiagnosed because a lot of doctors are just not looking at the reality of insulin resistance and it's impactful in our lives. And so we're going to dive in. Look, today, 88% of us at minimum are metabolically unhealthy. And that means that only 12% of us have metabolic health. And why is that happening? Well, it's happening because our food environment is so jacked up that we're just not getting the nutrients we need out of the food we have. So it's not just the packaged foods, you guys. It's not just, oh, if you would eat clean, if you would eat organic foods, you would do better. That works for some. But there's hormones and genetics and all this plays into it. I'm trying to get to the slide on the food. Um, but you guys, really, our food has been modified, whether it's the raw organic food, and organic, by the way, um, it's only like 25% organic or something that it has to be in order for it to be labeled that. That's not a guarantee. The only way that you have a guarantee that you're getting the food that we were meant to be getting is if you have heirloom seeds and are growing your own food. I've had vegetarians and pescatarians who've used this system and found that they got better after starting the system because what the system is doing is just bridging the gap between what's happened to our food and where it was supposed to be so that our bodies can actually recognize it again. Scientists are now saying that our food is not even recognizable to us. Look at this is what's happened, right? Oh, they keep changing my buttons. I say that all the time. So this is what we're faced with. Most of us are faced with things like this. Now, is this raw organic? Is this what we're supposed to be eating? No. But the truth is, this is what most of us are faced with in our daily lives, and it's causing havoc in our systems, right? So what if the answer was that we just take all of these foods that are imperfect and support them by putting back what's been stripped out? So if we look at this chart, you guys, the top left-hand corner is a carrot and what a carrot used to look like. Really fibrous, bitter, hard to break down, hard to chew, hard to digest. And we, over time, have said, well, if we're going to eat this thing, we want it to taste good. And so now it looks like the carrot down on the right. That's, a lot of starch and sugar. And then we look at the watermelon, how much fiber and seeds there were in it. That was there to slow down the consumption of the fructose in that fruit so that we didn't have the problems we're having today. But now we have sugar water in a shell. Then we looked at corn and look at what's happened to our corn. It used to be looking more like a grain, and now it's this big starchy carbohydrate vegetable. And then our grains have been strictly extremely modified as well. So you guys, this is not just a problem for people who have bad diets, right? We all have sometimes. Like, look, I don't eat perfect. I don't know very many people that do. This is also not a weight loss system. This is not a system that's here to help you lose weight. If you're strictly looking for weight loss, go somewhere else. This system is about replacing what's missing so that our bodies can heal naturally. And really what it is, we're going to dive into that. And then I'm going to go backwards today. We're going to take a look at these products. And first, the simple principles. What's happening is our food has so much of this stripped out, right? That we can no longer deal with it. So there's some principles that I go over to help reverse this cycle. You want to make sure you're getting in fiber first every time you eat before you eat. You want to fill up with fat that doesn't spike your insulin. We're going to talk about the insulin problem in a second. Prioritize your proteins, control carbs, watch the clock, which means some intermittent fasting. Yes, it does. And um, I love when I'm getting comments during my lives, or just yeah, anyway, whatever. So you guys do some intermittent fasting. I do a 16/8, which means I fast for 16 hours. I'm about 12, 13 hours in. I won't eat for another few hours, and then I'll have my meals in an 8-hour time period. I'm going to go over why a little bit later, why I do this and why it's working. And then you want to move your body, guys. Look at you have to move. Um, you cannot think you're going to have metabolic health and sit on your butt all day. I know. Like when I was sick, I hurt all the time. I didn't feel like getting up and moving, even though I had gone from, I was a world champion athlete, won 4 world championships at one point, and to go from that to being like in so much pain, I didn't want to move. But you have to. If you want to really achieve metabolic health, you've got to move. Does that mean you have to go lift crazy weights? No, go for a walk. Um, Andrew Huberman talks about these micro movements that help get you more metabolically healthy. Like fidgeting, twitching, just move. Get up, take a walk after dinner. Don't go lay down. So what's happening with our food is, I keep hitting the wrong button still because I'm over on TikTok too, you guys over here on everybody else side. So this is what's happening. When we eat, because our foods have been stripped, this spike happens. So our food turns into glucose way too quickly. And in response, this hormone called insulin has to come out to play to keep the sugar levels down. And insulin really is an energy delivery hormone. It's not a fat storing hormone. It takes the energy we eat and it delivers it to every single cell in the body. But so what's happening is we're eating foods that are unmediated by things like fiber to slow it down. And then it's just spiking our glucose over and over. And now our insulin is trained to stay high and it never really comes down. I'll talk about the importance of that later. But your insulin has to come down for you to get in fat burning mode. Um, it looks a little like this. When you have those glucose spikes, that insulin comes out, it creates this gap. The insulin delivers the sugar. Now you have this fatigue, right? So you're getting tired after you eat. It's because of the high amount of insulin you have in your body. And that insulin blocks fat breakdown, it blocks fat burning, and it increases or stimulates fat storage. So we need to get control of the insulin. With the system that I'm talking about this morning, and guys, ask all the questions you want. I love when people are engaged in their own health. So it's a tea that we drink in the morning and a pre-meal drink that we drink before anything. So I do the 16-hour fasting. I'm actually having my tea this morning, right now. That tea, by the way, we're going to go over it. It shuts down your hunger, gives you energy, mental clarity. But the reason we're doing fasting is this. So when you eat your dinner at 7, remember I was talking about insulin and glucagon, and we're going to talk about that really briefly right now. But when you're doing things like eating at 6 p.m., it takes about 2 hours for your fasting window to start for your gut to completely empty. Then about midnight, 6 hours till your blood sugars normalize. And then about 2 hours after that, then your insulin can finally drop. But if you look at that, that's about 8 hours after you ate before that insulin level that I talked about can drop. If you're eating high glucose foods or high carbohydrate foods, that insulin is going to stay high even longer. But if you're snacking, now you've moved that timeline back, right? So around 2 a.m., your insulin level can drop. And then finally, glucagon, the component hormone to insulin, can come out to play. And glucagon, so insulin is anabolic, it wants things to grow. So it's taking that energy, it's delivering it to every cell in the body, eyes, hairs, toenails, everything, and trying to get them to grow and sustain, right? Glucagon wants to eat things up. So you can see if insulin is a primary hormone and it wants things to grow, it's going to be I call it the bully in the yard when it gets out of control, because it's not going to let glucagon and some of these other hormones do their job if they're opposing it. So we have to get insulin down. Now, glucagon, which is going to help stimulate fat burning and getting rid of some of the other tissues that we need out. So that stimulation happens when glucagon comes out. Now, when glucagon finally comes out, your digestive system resets. You wake up in the morning, you have your tea, and it does not break your fast. And then your fat burning begins. This tea, by the way, helps you kick up ketone production in your body. It's not a ketone supplement, but it helps your body produce its own ketones. Now you're in this great fat burning mode and you have tons of energy. Like, I'm 59. I suffered with chronic fatigue and brain fog and all this stuff. Do you know that? Did you figure that? So, hey, Tammy. So, this tea is why I have so much energy in the morning, and I'm up until like midnight every night. I've already been up and done exercise and meditation and all of that, and some work. But now that fat burning is allowing you to feel not hungry, because hunger, I want you guys to shift to thinking about your hunger when your tummy, and it's not even tummy rumbling, but when you have the physical need to eat, your body really is saying it needs energy, right? It needs energy. So if you're burning your own fat for fuel, which is taking the fat out of your cells and delivering it to the system in your body so that it can run on it, your body doesn't need energy. So we stay in this fat burning mode. And then when you finally kind of like, okay, I'm a little bit hungry, it's about 16 hours, and then you're going to have something to eat. But before you do, you'll have your balance, which gives you that fiber beforehand. So it's so good to see you here this morning, Tammy. This is what it looks like on the system. You're going to have that fat burning mode in the morning, and then you'll have your pre-meal drink before you eat. And look, if you have breakthrough hunger in the afternoon, some people are like, I'm just so hungry. Have another tea. Guys, these are real food. It's not medication. So you can have more than one a day. I've had up to 5 balance in a day. If I'm hanging out with friends and we decide to grab a bite of something during my 8-hour window, I'll just have another balance. Or, hey, from Miami, it's good to see you. Um, so we're gonna go over both of the teas, right, or both of the drinks right now. Um, so then in the after and 4 to 6 hours after you have your first meal, you're gonna have your second one with this packet. So Rod over here on Facebook, give me a second. We're going to it right about now. So the tea, you guys, by the way, I don't have the QR code up on um, Facebook. I will. I'm going to type it in here for you right now. You can go to my website to find all of the products. There it is for you. Um, Now, over here on TikTok, you guys can just go to my profile and you'll see my link tree right underneath the red light symbols. That's going to take you to see everything you need to know to order. We'll go over that in a little bit. But so, guys, before we jump into the packets, if you're having more to eat, like I just said, just have another packet before you eat anything. That's going to help with a number of things. So it's not just about the sugar and the fat mediation. This is about gut health and getting you back healthy. The tea that you asked about, that tea, and Gabrielle, yeah, honey, it's right. Hold on 1 second, guys, before I dive into this. So guys, you can go to mishafayant.com. And by the way, if you're on TikTok and you just go to that link that I talked about, there's a way to contact me in there and all the information on how to get a hold of me there. So, all right. I will get a hold of you, Gabrielle, after this live. And Rod, let's take a look here. This tea, it's a very highly refined and I'm sorry, concentrated and extracted form of herbal mate. So the important things about this and why I love it is it's sustainably harvested, it's ethically harvested, it's handpicked by farmers in the area that this plant grows. And so we have control of it from the time it's picked to the time it's delivered to you. It never goes to a warehouse. It's never somewhere else. It's in our hands from the time it's picked. And we pay them well. We have a great source with them. Anyway, too many things. It's like bells and whistles going on over here. But then we take it through a fire roasting process, and that process really just releases the nutrients from the bulk of the plant so that we can give you the nutrients that you need. Now, the locals, the indigenous people, have always called this the food of the gods because it's so nutrient dense, and they've been able to live on this plant alone when there's no other food available for them. So it's an amazing, amazing food source. But then we extract those nutrients and products that we need to get to you. We concentrate it. And you're going to see in a second, there's 375 times the amount of at least one of those components in this tea than in any other tea you get of the same variety. So then we take it one step further and we go take it to a lab in Switzerland where they take it through this process called hyperpure, and that removes environmental toxins and pesticides. So now you have an extract that's highly concentrated and more pure than anything you're going to find out there in any bag tea. And so you can have it anytime. You can, it doesn't cause crashes. It's non-addictive. It suppresses hunger and cravings by using your stored fat for fuel. It boosts mood, mental, and physical performance. By the way, it's been scientifically proven to improve endurance and strength during exercise by 10 to 13%. As a former athlete, for a product that doesn't pop you on a drug test, that's huge. That's huge. A 10% in performance is huge. And then it promotes healthy digestion, and it's, like I just said, it's highly qualified and free from pesticides and toxins. But here are the components in it, right? Chlorogenic acid. They promote feelings of well-being, support healthy blood pressure and glucose levels, and they promote weight loss. It has great gene expression and antioxidant effect in the brain. Do you guys see how healthy this can be for you? And right here, 375 times more chlorogenic acids than any standard herbal mate tea. So for all the people who are telling you just go buy a regular herbal mate tea, how many of you guys want to stand and steep 375 bags of herbal mate tea? Or how many of you want to even pay for that much tea? Like that would get really expensive. So the second component is theobromine. That also supports healthy blood pressure, cholesterol levels, promotes a feeling of calm, reduce mental fatigue, and improve focus. You guys, I've had so much more energy, and my team can tell you, than I've had in years. I don't even feel 59 most days. It's insane. So the theobromine is what's in dark chocolate that makes you have that ooh ah feeling. And there's 3 times more theobromine in this than in any high quality dark chocolate. And I'm talking fast because I want to get through this so I can answer questions for y'all. So then there's the mate saponins. They're unique to this plant. They support healthy triglycerides in the body's ability to burn fat. And in that are those triterpenoids that everybody's loving with like reishi, coffee, and whatnot. That's triterpenoids, and that's found right here in the Unimate. Why wouldn't you be able to take it, Star Child? I don't understand. That's kind of a broad question. That's a broad statement. It's a real food product. So I don't know why. I mean, everybody has different things going on. So I just need a better understanding of what happens, why you're thinking you can't take it. So you can have it anytime, guys, in the morning, between meals, when you have breakthrough hunger, when you need to be focused and on point, anytime you need energy or to combat brain fog, you can do that. By the way, those chlorogenic acids are chlorogenic acids are one of the few components that can cross the blood-brain barrier and help nourish your brain. So jittery, you shouldn't be jittery on this product. If you're having that problem or you think you are, cut it back to a half a pack, or see like my mug, I don't mix it in just 16 ounces of water. I mix it in 30 to 40 and I drink it slower. I never get jittery from this ever. And my blood pressure was 180 over 150 when I started. The best we could get it to was 150 over 110. I was terrified of like coffees and Bang Energy and all that stuff because I did get jittery and I did have high blood pressure and I did have all of that. So, have you tried the product and you've gotten jittery from it? I'd need to know that too. So the balance, you guys, what the balance is doing, the second part of the system, right? It supports controlling blood sugar. It is patented. Our products are all patented, and it helps curb your appetite between meals. And we're going to go over how that happens. Balance has 4 different proprietary blends in it that are patented. And the first one is called Biosphere Fiber. And this fiber is a unique blend that has 5 different sources of those 9 sources of fiber that help support cholesterol and slow the conversion of high glycemic foods and carbohydrates. So what that product does is the science says, the scientific studies say this product takes a high glycemic food and in effect makes it a medium glycemic food. We're slowing down the delivery of that glucose into the system so you're not getting that high insulin spike, and it's also encapsulating that sugar. So now it's delivering it much slower. You're never getting the spikes of insulin and blood sugar like you were before. It says it reduces a blood sugar spike with 1 packet by 20%, with 2 by 28, and your insulin spikes by 13% with 1 packet, and 27% reduction in insulin spike when you combine it and have 2 packets. So if you're having pasta and stuff, you can drink 2 of these. Again, it's food. It's not doing any damage to you. So then the biosphere fiber is added to this 7X technology, which is it forms a thick viscous gel in your gut. So those fibers, by the way, this is why we want to take 10 minutes before we eat, because we want to allow this to activate and do its job in your system. So when those fibers hit you, so you mix them up. I'm all over the place today. I have been like a jackrabbit on fire. Okay, so you mix it up in your bottle, shake it up, drink it down, wait 10 minutes. Everything just mixes in water, and then wait the 10 minutes. So what happens is when that hits your gut and those enzymes, it starts to thicken up and expand. Now you're less hungry before you even eat. And when it thickens is when it works best for helping mediate those carbs and those fats. So yeah, thank you, Tammy. So really try to wait 10 minutes. But guys, the reality is if you can't wait 10 minutes, I've worked jobs where I was like, dude, I got notified 5 minutes before we stopped to eat that we were going to eat. And I just like pounded this down because getting it in is better than not having it there at all. 10 minutes is optimal. But those fibers help slow down the emptying of your stomach. They help fill you up longer. And so you're staying full longer. I noticed when I started, I eat about half as much as I used to, or you'll feel way too full. And then you don't have that hunger, that breakthrough hunger right after you eat like you do without it. Then they added the cardio matrix to it, which is this blend of plant phytosterols. And chrysanthemum is key in that. And you guys can go do some Google research on chrysanthemum and how many studies have done on that and how it does help with the absorption of cholesterol. So now we're making it heart healthy. And then to take it that one step further, they added this BIOS vitamin complex, which is a unique blend that helps support healthy metabolism and digestion. And especially when it's combined with those fibers and phytosterols, now it just amplifies everything else that was done. So it's a complete product. And I'm going to talk about this. You guys, like, can I hit the elephant in the room right over the head right now? Because anybody who knows me knows I get like super excited about this part. First of all, remember the Unimate, highly concentrated extract, it's extremely pure. You'd have to, like, even if I broke it down and said you had to drink 30 cups of normal tea, which you're still not being assured that you're going to get what you're getting in this, the cost would be more than this. The time investment would be more than this. You're steeping 30 bags of tea and having to carry that around. This is a packet. You mix in water. Boom, you're done. It costs you about $1.60 a day. I have multiple of these a day, and I still sleep like a baby, sleep better than I have in years. Then, so the people who are saying, "Oh, just go buy herbal mate tea," I can't tell you how many people have tried that and come back to me and said, "Misha, it didn't work." And you guys, look, there's no shame. If you get swayed by somebody else and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go try that because I'm gonna save me some money," and then you find out it didn't work, I am not going to berate you. I am not going to tell you I told you so. I'm just going to be like, hey, let's get your health back. Let's get you started again. Let's figure this out. It happens, right? I wish it didn't, but it does. So then there's this, right? This is so much more than a fiber product. This is a complete product, pre-meal drink that I have before I eat anything. Even if I'm going to have like a small snack, I drink this. Why is it different from this thing or this thing? Did I tell you 9 different soluble and insoluble fibers, 9 different soluble and insoluble fibers, studied for over 20 years to come up with a combination that will actually has clinical studies on this product that shows it reduces blood sugar. And so there's a 90-day money back guarantee on it, by the way, that says you will reduce your A1C, your blood glucose, and your triglycerides if you use it consistently and like it's meant to use. This does have no clinical studies to say that. They're writing our coattails by putting this on here. And it's 2 types of fiber, not 9. And remember, each type of fiber has a different affect in the body. And this is 1 type of fiber. It mixes up, looks like water, tastes like hell. It works okay to groom your gut out. If you look at, I hope you guys don't have children. I'm a free talker here. If you want to poop, you can do that. But we have a product that has 27 different types of fiber in it that is less than this and is about the cost of this, that does a way better job and gives you 27 different types of fiber, because it's not the amount of fiber, it's the type of fiber that matters when you're looking at all of these things. So if you're looking for glucose and fat and cholesterol management, you have to have specific fibers. These guys don't have them. This one does, and it has studies to back up that it does. So Bobby, I found you, by the way. And did you get emails from me yet? Because if you didn't, I need to make sure those go out today, Bobby. And let's talk tomorrow when you get it. Can you promise me that you'll talk to me and let's get you started? Um, but you guys, that's the difference. So we've had people, by the way, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to try to slow down. I'm just so excited lately. But we've had people try to emulate the system, and because there's nutritional panels on everything. Look, nutritional panel, and on my website there was nutritional panels, and you can go to the product. But they've tried to emulate this, and you know what other companies come back and said? They said that they would have to charge $400 to $500 a month for this product. They were like, we can't do it. We cannot duplicate what you guys are doing, nor do we want to take the time because you guys have done that. So Bobby, I'll get those out when we're done with this live. I know I sat down to do it yesterday and I probably got distracted because it took me a minute to find you, was what happened. But I did find you, honey. So, right, Tammy. She started 7 weeks ago. I saw Jason in here too. Good morning. I love my crew. I lost my bell. I love my crew. I lost my bell. I was using it last night on a team meeting, and I think I lost it. Whatever. Tammy, congratulations. She's down 7 or 13 pounds and 27 inches in just 7 weeks. You guys, I just posted a video. I went back through my videos because I have thousands, right? And I found a video from 2 years ago when I started. Oh my God. Did you see the face on the woman that was started 2 years ago? Did you see that face? Crazy. And that video was because I hadn't lost any weight in the first 6 weeks and I was despondent. I was like, sorry, in my head, I'm like, this SHIT is not working. I don't know what I got myself into. I don't know what I bought into this time, but it's just not working. I mean, I feel better. My blood pressure is going down. What? I feel better. My blood pressure is going down, but I haven't lost weight yet. I mean, I can't tell you how much I hear that from other people, but I ended up at 6 weeks in starting to lose weight. By 5 months in, I was down over 50 pounds, and I've kept it off, and I've stayed healthy, and I've gotten healthier every month that I'm on it. And so, you guys, when I get asked all the time, how long do you have to take this for? I will use it the rest of my life, or until somebody puts our food back the way that the creator meant us to have it, which is not likely to happen. We're probably going further and further the other way, right? It's not like we're going to go back to the heirloom products that take longer to grow, that are more susceptible to rot and all of these things. Does it amaze anyone? Does it amaze anyone? The shelf life of the food we have, even from the produce section. Like I bought into the whole, I've tried everything. I did the whole perimeter shopping. Like for years, I couldn't tell you what the middle aisles of the grocery store looked like because I just didn't go there. I still got sick. But when you look at the shelf life of our foods, there should be a clue in that. Your raw organic foods and how long they hang out. in your fridge on your counter. That's a clue. So anyway, I'll be using this because my body, the other thing is our bodies are living, breathing organisms that are changing their cells out about every 9 weeks. And so that means every 9 weeks we have new cells that are replicating, unfortunately, off of the old cells they had. So we're like, that's where aging comes in, right? But if we're having these new cells that are coming in, I want them to age less. I want them to have less damage and trauma in those cells. I'm going to continually use the product because it's helped me so much. You guys, I went from um, having, I got to go back here and I'm going to go back and find these cells. I went from like obese, diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, sleep apnea, edema, neuropathy. Gosh, what else was going on there? I have this whole list because I can never remember it all. Bleeding teeth and gums, eyesight was failing, hair was falling out. I had the dark patches on my elbows, knees. I had skin tags and that were coming on everywhere. I just did a video the other day on skin tags. You guys, that's not a normal function of aging. That's a normal function of hyper production of keratinocytes, which those are little benign tumors. Not likely that they're going to turn malignant, but you don't have to cut them off. You don't have to any of that. All of that's gone and taken care of for me with the system because of this one food product. And I was shocked, you guys. Like when all of these things, when I sat down and started realizing all of these things were getting better for me, I was like, what? What just happened? Why did I go from so sick that I couldn't get off the couch, that I was crying at night of bed because I thought I was going to die in my sleep? My blood pressure was so out of control. I had leg cramps every morning. I could hardly walk. My feet wouldn't fit in my shoes. Like I was a wreck. And how did I start to feel better? Just this. This is all I changed. And you guys, some of you know the story, some of you don't. But when I started, I was in such a wreck. I could no longer work in medical offices. I couldn't, the website should work. Uh, did you go to mishafayant.com? Because I've been in there this morning and it was working. Let me check. Yep, I just clicked on it and it's working. So, um, if you want to, if you're on here and you want to buy, just go to the link and buy. I'll show you guys that in a second too. But look, I was driving for Lyft because I could no longer show up at work. My legs would go out from underneath me because of the extreme amount of pain I was in, even though I could handle it here. At some point in the day, my body was like, nope, we're not doing this. And literally, my legs would go out from underneath me in clinic. Sometimes I'm carrying trays with thousands of dollars of testing product on it, or, it just was not a safe situation. So I had to stop. Plus, I was in so much pain every day, I just couldn't tell if I was going to be in shape to work or not every day. And so I started working for Lyft because it was the one thing I could control when I went out, when I didn't. But even that, I started having vertigo really bad. And I ended up having an accident. And then I made a wrong turn one time because I was having some light issues and vertigo. And I ended up losing that job because I just couldn't do anything anymore. I had a walker, I had a cane, I had disability plates on my car. I couldn't go up and down stairs. I couldn't get up and down off the floor. I was like falling apart. And that's not me now. Like I'm doing qigong, getting up and down off the floor and doing all these moves and going for walks and playing with my grandkids. And all I did was add 2 food products to my day. That's it. 2 food products, and that's all I did. So, does anybody so Melanie, it's this. The Feel Great system, you're gonna find it over on TikTok, you're gonna find it in my profile. There's an option right under my profile picture, you'll see red lights. Those of you over here on TikTok, or on Facebook, YouTube, it's you're gonna go to mishafayant.biz. Normally I have a QR code up here, but I forgot to put that up today, didn't I? So let's see, do I have it there? I don't. So I'll fix that before I go live next time. All right. It is not a probiotic. This is not a probiotic. It's not that simple, okay? So this has phytosterols and prebiotics in it that are helping rebalance your gut microbiome. That's not its primary action, but for me, I feel like that's what it happens. So it's helping clear out some of the negative gut bacteria by getting your insulin levels down. And then when with the prebiotics in here, it's allowing your body to produce its own probiotics. Um, Yay! I know there's a whole family on it now. Now you know what? Sorry, I'm gonna call you out, Tam. I just think Tammy needs to come on and be the crazy lady on TikTok with me and talk about it. That's what I think. We'll talk about that later. Okay, um, you guys, I'm gonna go back to the front now of this whole thing and talk a little bit more about the insulin resistance part. Now that I got it out about the products, right? Yes, prebiotics are the food for probiotics. When you're taking probiotics and you're just kind of like you're just putting more on top of a mound that's already kind of blocked off, and I mean it can work, but right, why not rebalance that gut microbiome, start naturally letting some of the negative bacteria go away, and the prebiotics are feeding the good bacteria so that you can regain balance in your body more naturally. Yeah, let your body do the job it was meant to do. And that's what this is. You know what? You're just bridging the gap, right? So our food is imperfect. We're just putting back a lot of what's been stripped out so that we can bridge that gap between where our food system is now, where we need it to be so that our bodies can function more normally. And that's that. And it all leads back to this thing for everybody over here on Facebook and YouTube, to the insulin resistance thing, because look, when this is stripped out of our foods turn into glucose much quicker. You guys, I'm all about education, so forgive me. I get a little nerdy, but if you like ask questions, but here's the thing for those that don't know, because I didn't know. There's no shame in not knowing. You don't know what you don't know until you know. There's a ton of stuff I don't know, and I won't know it until I learn it, right? Okay. So you have three different macronutrients in your body, or in your food: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So carbohydrates spike your glucose the most. And it depends on whether it's a high glycemic or low glycemic carb. And you guys want to know what the difference is between a high glycemic carb and a low glycemic carb? Does anybody know that difference? Do I need to explain that? Because it's okay. I didn't. I mean, people were walking around talking high glycemic and low glycemic, and I'm like, what is all this stuff? What are you throwing these big words at me for? Well, the real difference is the high glycemic carbs have less less fibers and whatnot in them, so they more freely turn into glucose or glycogen in your system. Low glycemic carbs are mediated more by the fibers that are in this packet, and they turn into blood glucose much slower in your system. So when I say this takes a high glycemic carb and turns it into a medium glycemic, that's what it's doing, is it's re-encapsulating some of what's been stripped out so that now that food is not turning into blood glucose so quickly, and it's slowing it down so we don't get those crazy spikes of insulin that are causing all the damage. So that's part of the goal of this. Is this like, I heard a doctor the other day, there's all kinds of naysayers and supporters and whatnot, but he was like, well, there's no science. There is a whole page, by the way, if you guys want to know the science, if you're a nerd like me and you want to know the science, go to unicity.science.org, and there's all kinds of studies on that page about this, and it just came out with some new studies. The next time I go live, I'll get those pulled up, but there's a ton of studies on the efficacy of these products and how it works. Oh, by the way, they just did a study on this, that it was like a pre-study, so they're saying it warrants further studies, but um, this product was shown in this small study to increase people's feelings of well-being by 75%. When I say this was developed as a mental health tool, it really was. This is helping your brain function in a way that it hasn't been able to for a while. Those chlorogenic acids I talked about earlier get to the brain and they help with that neuroprotective gene expression and antioxidant effect in the brain. They create that feeling of well-being, but it's also heart healthy. So this isn't like coffee and bang energy now where your heart's gonna like, oh, just like I so much caffeine, I can't handle it. This is doing the reverse. You have a ton of energy, mental clarity, the brain fog goes away, and it's healthier for your heart. We have cardiologists who, there's a cardiologist in Wisconsin who every single person in his clinic that's come in has been told to use the system. We have a neurologist now who's utilizing the system and believes in it, says it's the best thing he's seen in all his years of medicine. We have an oncologist who's told his patient that this, she had colon cancer, that this is why she's still alive today, and he wishes she would set up out front of his office and tell everybody about it. We have endocrinologists who are behind it. So why would all of these doctors who've actually used it and tried it, you guys, you have to pay attention when people are dissing something. Did they actually do it, or are they just going, yeah, I don't like that, so I'm going to say some bad shit? Did they actually do it? It's just like me going on, you know what, like this is I'm gonna go I'm gonna go back to my athlete days. But it was crazy as an athlete. I would sit on the sideline and it was so easy to be like, oh, that was a good lift, ref. You're so full of it. That was good, blah, blah, blah. And then I trained up and I became a state level ref. And then I became a national level ref as I was competing. And then, man, sitting in that chair was a whole different thing than watching it from the sidelines. And then even before that, all the people on the sidelines who are making fun of what people do and all the stuff they do when they're lifting, who've never gone out and lifted, it's really easy to throw judgment when you've never done it. The system works. The doctors who've tried it and used it are glowing about it. They're giving rave reviews. It actually works. There's science behind it, and it's amazing. So that's actually how I was able to get over. I want to go over. That's where I was headed. This whole thing with insulin resistance, guys, though, is real. And this is what's happening, right? Our food, we're eating it, it's turning into glucose so quickly. Our pancreas is being overloaded, having to produce more and more insulin than ever. At some point, our cells get resistant to it. I always say it's like that nosy neighbor that that comes around and knocks on your door, and you're like, dude, go away, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're annoying. The first few times they knock, you're like, hey, it's good to see you, neighbor. Welcome on in. But then all of a sudden they're at your door, they're peeping through your like windows. That's what insulin is like in your body. The cells are like, dude, go away. I don't want to see you. And that's what insulin resistance is, when we have too much insulin in the body and the body just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. But the crazy thing is, some cells are saying stay away, and some cells are going, I'll take on the task, I'll do it. And that's how you get like skin takes and stuff, because they're taking on too much energy. So, some of the things that can happen with insulin resistance, by the way, before I get to my little story and Jason's story, um, are these things. So you can be sarcopenia, fatty liver, dementia, Alzheimer's, heart disease, stroke, erectile dysfunction, diabetes. You guys do wonder why we see more type 2 diabetes in kids now than ever. It's this whole problem, this whole epidemic we're having with our food and insulin. So then I'm not going to go over this in depth. You guys can screenshot this if you want, but every single one of these disorders has been linked to insulin resistance. Am I going to tell you it causes the insulin resistance? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Am I going to tell you it links and it can exacerbate or make things worse? Yes, I am, because I've seen it. We've had people who've had psoriasis, who I was like, I can't make that claim. And yet somebody who was having horrible psoriatic flares, who just didn't want to go out in public because of it, started on the system and within 3 months stopped having psoriatic flares. Is she cured of psoriasis? No. But is she suffering from the flares now? No. So when I say it's linked, those are some of the things. Some things are never going to go away. This is not a magic bullet, but some things can get so much better by just controlling the insulin and how it acts in your body. A lot of people always ask me, how do I know if it's me, right? How do I know if I'm insulin resistant? Because, number one, let's come back here for a second. Um, I will tell people all the time, A1C and blood glucose is not the best indicator of insulin resistance. You guys, why do I talk about it? Because I've read and studied guys like Dr. Ben Bickman, who's one of the top metabolic scientists in the world, Dr. Fung, Dr. Pardeep, and a number of others who talk about all of this. That's why I talk about it. That's where the information comes from. Guys, by the way, the book is Why We Get Sick. I really need to get an affiliate code. I can't tell you how many books Dr. Ben has probably sold because of this, but that's where I get this information. So if you don't have those, or let me step back. When you're getting that high A1C and blood glucose, it's what I call end stage insulin resistance, because by the time it gets there and now you're being told you're diabetic, you've had insulin resistance for a long time. And for me, it was probably, we think now, about 40 years that I was had insulin resistance building up. My blood sugars, my cholesterol, my everything was fine until it wasn't. And then when it wasn't, it started getting bad quickly. So my A1C went from 7.4 back down to 5.3 on the system, no medications, easy, easy. But if you don't have those, and if I'm telling you you can't rely on that, because now, and doctors will even say that it's at least 20 years for most people that they've had insulin resistance before it turns into diabetes. How are you going to tell? How do you know? Tammy, right? Like, look, I know I flash my elbows all the time. You guys, I'm an elbow flasher, and we're about to see why. So this is my elbow now. No dark spots, smooth as a baby's butt. We're going to see why I do that, because my elbows before looked like that elbow up there on number 3. That's called acanthosis nigricans. It's that darkened skin on your elbows, knees. It can be under your arms or on the back of your neck. You see that a lot. People have these big, dark, scaly patches on the back of their neck. That's insulin resistance. And they don't have to live with it. I feel so bad. I remember when I was younger and there was a mother and her children, and they lived in a horrible, horrible situation. And you never have compassion until you have to go through stuff. But he would come in and he would come out of the shower and his neck still had these dark rings. And I'm like, dude, did he even wash? Well, no, it wasn't an issue of did he wash. That poor young man, because of the limited resources they had and probably the food that they were able to eat, was already insulin resistant and probably diabetic. And he had these dark rings all the way around his neck that just wouldn't wash off, clean off anything. Now that I know, like, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known 20, 30 years ago all of this information, because I can't imagine what that young man's life is like now and all the damage that's been happening in his body. Okay, back on track. So acanthosis nigricans. So my elbows were like that elbow up there, only it ringed all the way around my elbow and it came all the way down here. And this was all rough and scaly, and it would catch on my clothes. It would catch on like the car seats and stuff. It was horrible. Or the couch, like you couldn't sit down on the couch, your elbow would rub and catch. That's insulin resistance, and a doctor was very nice and kind to educate me several months ago as to why that happens, and I need to go look it up and ingrain it. So I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to be able to give you the correct information. But some of these other things, and these 5 are from Dr. Bickman. Okay, so the top one is hypertension, which I had since my 20s. If your blood pressure, and hypertension, by the way, is a blood pressure of 130 over 80 or higher, if you have that, you're likely insulin resistant. Now, doctors say, in what I've been studying, they'll say cardiologists will be like, okay, hypertension, 95% of it on average is linked to insulin resistance and diabetes and all this. Only 5% is genetic and maybe bacterial or whatever. So, but then we look at that even more and we say, now long-term hypertension comprises 80% of cardiovascular diseases, and cardiovascular deaths are the leading killer in the world, taking about 50,000 lives a day. That top one is at the top for a reason. That was me, and I don't even know, like, I'm not super religious. I'm very spiritual, but praise God, hallelujah, because I'm still upright and walking. I don't know how I survived 20 years of that high blood pressure. Neither do the doctors. They were like terrified. Like, we gotta fix this or you're gonna literally die in your sleep one night. So all right, the hypertension, and then skin takes. Those little protrusions of skin on your neck, under your arms, on your eyelids, on your chest. Those are insulin resistance, and you don't have to go have them removed. And I was really surprised, you guys. It's been a while since I've done research on some of this stuff. Yeah, you will see a ton of things change when you start the system, Tammy. But so I was reading up on skin tags again because I like to refresh, right? And I found some articles where dermatologists are actually starting to talk about the link between skin tags and insulin resistance. I'm not the only crazy person talking about it. So yes, skin tags are insulin resistance. If you have them, it's not a factor of you're getting old or some genetically, yes, are some people more predisposed to it than others, yes, but the fact that they're there means you're having a hyperinsulinemia problem, too much insulin in the blood. So the next one, these next two, man and woman, if you have PCOS, ladies, that's insulin resistance. Men, if you have erectile dysfunction, that's insulin resistance most of the time. Like 100% of the time, no, but both of those. But so here's the thing, ladies, if you're not being able to have children and you're having irregular periods and you're having fatigue and all this stuff, I have so many stories of young ladies who started the system and within a few months were having regular periods. Ladies who were told that they would never have a family, devastated and heartbroken. By the way, I had PCOS. I was told I was never going to have kids. So I call both of my kids miracle children because, like, who knows how that happened. Um, seriously. But anyway, these ladies are now having families. They're now losing weight. They're now having better moods and less hunger and all of that. So if you have PCOS, get a hold of me. This is just, again, it's just two real food products, not a bunch of medications, not metformin and Monjaro and all these things that are causing damage to your liver and your kidneys and your heart. This is real food products that makes a real difference, and I have lots of stories of women with that. Now, erectile dysfunction, I also have stories. We're going to start putting them up. There's one I found in my stream I'll probably repost. But he was a school teacher. He talks about it openly, erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, the whole thing. He started the system, and within a few months, his function came back, loves his wife. They have a strong relationship. But you know that impacts your life, right? That impacts your relationships. Plus, guys, I know for women it's different, but I know talking to enough guys, it's devastating. You lose your self-esteem, your self-worth as a man, all of that. It's not your fault. It's the food that we're eating. This has helped so many people with that particular problem. I would just say give it a try. Now, this particular school teacher that I'm talking about, his doctor even wanted to put him on replacement hormone therapy because his testosterone was so out of range. And he was like, you know what? Just give me some time. I want to give the system some time. And at his next checkup within 3 months, his testosterone levels were not just in range, but they were like higher than mid range. They had gone from non existent to, woohoo, I have testosterone in my body now. And all he did was this. He never did the hormone replacement, the bioidentical, any of that. He just did the systems. You guys, when I talk about this, I can't promise you that this is going to happen for you, but what I can promise you is that it has a 90-day money back guarantee, that it's not harming your health. It's worth a shot to see what can happen for you. Okay. So now beyond these top five, so hypertension, skin tags, acanthosis nigricans, PCOS, and erectile dysfunction. Those are Dr. Bickman's top five, right? So there's a couple of other things I want to go over with insulin resistance, and I'm going to show you me, what I looked like when I started all this, because it's kind of insane. So look, if you have that bulging belly, periscope up. All right, so if you have that bulging belly, whether you're thin or fat, this, by the way, insulin resistance is not a fat person problem. There are tons of skinny people with insulin resistance. Tons of people that you outwardly look at and go, but they're healthy and they're thin and they don't have a problem. You don't know that. You don't know what they're suffering from because most people don't talk about all the other things, the bleeding teeth and gums, the hair falling out, the eyesight going away, the sleep apnea, the muscle cramping. Most people don't tell you those parts of their story. So just because they're thin doesn't mean they're healthy. And if they have a bulging belly, that's insulin resistance, whether you're fat or thin. I just did a video today on my pregnant grandma belly. Whoo, that was good to have that go away. So High triglycerides, low HDL. I'm going to go over that in a second. But both of those, if your triglycerides are high, 150 per milligram per deciliter or higher, you're likely insulin resistant. Low HDL, same thing. Water retention, right? And especially in your feet. And edema, neuropathy, those things are linked back to insulin resistance. If you have these things and your blood sugars haven't yet gone high, bet that you're insulin resistant. Okay, so if you're having constant hunger and you're hungry even after you've just eaten, maybe your body temperature drops after you've eaten, you get the chills, you just want to go lay down, that's insulin resistance. It's actually reactive hypoglycemia where insulin is doing such a good job, it's draining your bloodstream of blood sugars, and now you're like, oh, I need energy because the insulin just dumped it off everywhere. So then chronic fatigue, headaches, migraines, body aches and pains. You guys, if you're going into your doctor and you're finding, whoop, I just left you guys, left the planet over here. If you're having those issues and your doctor's not able to figure it out, this is what I want to tell you. Give it a shot because it's got a 90-day money back guarantee. It's real food products. It doesn't counteract with any medications you're on. It doesn't have any side effects except that you may have some mild gastrointestinal bloating, whatnot, when you start this because your body's not used to this amount of fibers and phytonutrients. So that may happen at first, but it's real food product, 90-day money back guarantee. Why not see what can change? And here's my thing. If you're having these issues and your doctor hasn't been able to explain them, and you can possibly change those, why wouldn't you try it? For me, what's happened now is we're like, okay, I had like a slew of health issues. I did the system. I've been doing it for 2 years now. Now we've kind of cleared the path. Okay, that went away, and that went away, and that went away, and that's not a problem anymore, and this isn't a problem. So now those aren't things that we need to look at. I don't go to the doctor every 2 weeks. I haven't even been to a doctor in almost 2 years, except for to have a physical done in January. By the way, that physical in January, being on the system for like 21 months, every single one of my labs was in normal range, and my blood pressure was 120 over 70. No medications at that point for 19 months, and yet my blood pressure was normal, and every one of my labs was normal. Now, a new physician looking at me, knowing that I was not on any medications, would they have any indicator that I had ever been diagnosed as diabetic unless I told them? Nope. So when I say I reversed my diabetes, that's what I mean. I'm not using medications to manage it. I'm not using all of that. I live a real life, and I no longer am clinically diabetic. If I went back to my old ways and started doing all of that again, yeah, I could probably become diabetic again. But look, if you put your hand on the fire and you burn it, and you feel your hand and you never stick your hand in that fire again, you're not burnt anymore, right? If you stick your hand back in the fire, are you going to get burnt again? Probably. Let's be real about that. Um, Jason, my guy over here on TikTok, just mentioned. He said, um, he looked like he was 8 months pregnant for years, and he doesn't anymore. So we're about to get there. Yes, but these are all indications before I start showing you guys the success stories, because I do want you to see some people that have gotten much better with this. My guy Jason is one of them. But this low, remember I said high triglycerides, low HDL. So here's a number you guys can use. Write it down. You guys ready? Write it down, because this is how you can tell if you have current lab work. It's one of the ways that you can hopefully start to narrow down this path. It's not perfect, but it does give you a good indicator besides all of these signs I've given you. So what you want to do is take a look at your labs, and you're going to take your triglycerides. That should be a bigger number for most of you. If you're having insulin resistance or diabetes, it's probably well over 150, probably 190, 200, somewhere around there. That's devastating, right? Take that number, find the HDL, high density lipids, find that number, and divide your triglycerides by your HDL. Okay, so that equation, you should come up with a number that's 1.5 or less. If it's 1.5 or less, you're likely in a good range. But both Dr. Bickman and the NIH agree that when it becomes 2 or higher, they give you a little gap, right? So they'll say 3, but really 2 or higher says, that you're insulin resistant, even if you don't have high A1C and triglycerides. That's my little gift for you guys today. Use that equation. I really need to do that video again and put it on my profile. How many of you guys want me to do that video again? It seems like it's been forever since I've done that little equation for everyone. Um, so you guys, it was just brought up over on TikTok that somebody's starting. Thank you, Tammy. Christy's starting today. She has the omega 3s. Because the omega 3s are fats, they're not spiking your insulin. You can take it during your fasting window. For me, I usually take it in the morning with my tea. I do. And so here's the thing, you guys, too. The crazy thing is why she's asking about omega 3s when I'm talking about 2 Real Food products, because this company is amazing. And when you purchase and you go online and go to my website, or I will show you guys here where we're talking about. By the way, if you know how to use Linktree, it's Linktree, and then you want to look for Misha Fayon, Coach Misha Fayon on Linktree. All of the information is there also. I might have that link if you guys need it. Let me grab it for these guys. But so she can take it in the morning. Um, and I will do that video on the equation. I'll do that one today, and it'll either get posted tonight or in the morning. Okay, so look for that on my TikTok, and you guys, it'll show up on Facebook and YouTube as well, because everything I post on TikTok ends up over here for you guys too. So I'm getting the Linktree link for the people and all the rest of the world, right? Um, Here we go. Okay, so that link, you guys, over here on YouTube, that's where you can go to find all the information about me. The rest of you guys go to my profile and check it out up there. Now, I think we're about ready for yep, some testimonials, right? You guys ready for this? Because this was me 2 years ago when I started. I couldn't go up and down stairs. I had hypertension, hyperlipidemia, sleep apnea, heartburn, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, arthritis, leg cramps, skin discoloration, brain fog, depression, mental health. Exactly, yes. Thank you, Jason. He's one of my favorite warriors. So that was me 2 years ago when I started the system. Like I was trying to smile and be nice. I try to be a nice person. But everybody says I was crabby. I didn't realize how crabby I was because I was in pain, guys. I was in pain. 5 months later, that was me. And there was a surgery in between there. The surgery was about fixing a hernia, not anything cosmetic. So from here to here, and Jason, tell them over on TikTok what I ate. At the time, it was one of my favorite foods, but you know what? I have tried to go back to have that again because you just have these emotional triggers, and I'm like, I want to go have that again. Waiting for Jason to answer over here, and I went and got some, and I'm like, ugh, oh, what is that? When your internal system changes, all of these cravings you have and all the foods that you thought were so good no longer taste the same. So I talk about it like a stair step or a ladder. We do the best we can in the moment. I'm not asking anybody to like go clear out your fridge, go clean out your cupboards. I feel like that guy. Watch your women, watch your children. You don't have to do all of that. Start where you're at. As you get healthier, as your gut cleans up with the help of the system, you're going to make different choices. And then you get to do that. And so here's the other thing. You don't have to follow my diet. There's a reason I don't have a dietary plan on my website. There's a reason for that. Because nobody has to fit in my little box of what I like to eat. And you guys, it's kind of random what I eat. So you really don't want that. But we have people who love Indian food, they eat it. I love some Mexican food once in a while. When I go back home where my daughter is, there's a little Mexican restaurant that's amazing, and we always stop in there. I love their chimichangas. I love their pollo crema. She says it much better than me, but I just take this with me and I eat what I want, when I want, where I want. Like, it's so easy. This goes in my purse like that, mixes in water. If I'm going someplace, I'll take a bigger purse, put a little water in this. By the way, this lid stays tight, and then I can just mix my stuff in when I'm ready to eat. You can also mix it in a glass when you're at the restaurant, but this is not a diet. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait till forever. Let's show you. Want to see Jason's, Miss Dunbar? The name of the program, it's called the Feel Great System. It's not a program, it's a system. So you're going to go to my profile up here and we'll show you that. I'm going to put Jason up over here. Guys, over on TikTok, Talk, and YouTube, hang on for a second because I'm going to show, that was my feet before and after. I'm going to turn the, I'm going to share. I'm going to share. I'm going to show everybody right now. Hang on for 2 seconds. So bear with me, guys. So over on TikTok, this is what I'm showing them. This is my profile. Oh, it didn't turn around. Okay. So if you go here, click on the link below the red lights. It's not going to look red on your device. It's going to probably be black, but just click on that. It will take you to my link tree. And for those of you on the other channels, just go here and then type in, see that at Coach Misha Fayant. That's how you're going to find my page. I thought I fixed that. So there it is. You guys, there was that How I Make Money, and you can too. I'm working on that. I am now wanting to share with people how I turned my life around that way too. So ask me those questions. Let's get you going. But here's that. So when you click on that, there's all of the ordering information here. It's just called the Feel Great System. This one button, by the way, works for you wherever you are in the world. It works on your IP address, not on your it's not just going to bring up the US site. So, okay. So this is Jason. My guy Jason over here on TikTok who's talking to everybody. This is Jason. He's lost over 140 pounds. Look at, and he tells me I was crabby. I think we were crabby bunnies together. I was a crabby, well, we're both crabby bears actually. Teddy bears on the inside, but big grizzly bears on the outside. That's what we were. But Jason, this was him 140 pounds ago, and he was fluffy, but he's not so fluffy anymore. Jason, I need a new picture of you because he's smaller than this now. It's been, I think, about 7 months now. And he's taken his A1C from 13.3 down to 6.3, gotten over hypertension, hyperlipidemia, sleep apnea, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and he's not on any meds either. This system is all he does. So I'm going to show you guys a couple more people. So here's my girl Cindy. You guys see her on every morning. She's lost 90 pounds now in just over 6 months. Her A1C wasn't that bad. Remember, I told you guys don't use that as an indicator. Her A1C was only 5.9, pre-diabetic, just barely pre-diabetic. She's now down to 5.5, out of pre-diabetic range. By the way, Jason will no longer be classified as diabetic by summer because his numbers are dropping so quick. She's gotten rid of her hypertension, hyperlipidemia, brain fog, neuropathy, inflammation. Here's Karen, and I love these two side by side because here's Karen. She lost 25 pounds, but a lot of inches. She wasn't as big, right? She wasn't as big. But her A1C was 11.5. The last time she had her labs done, it was down to 6.5. In a few months, she'll have it done again, and it'll probably be closer to normal range. That's what happened with mine. She had sleep apnea, heartburn, chronic fatigue, brain fog. Her mental health was suffering, anxiety and depression. That's not a problem anymore. 13.3 on Jason to 6.1. Do I need to fix that slide? I obviously do. And then there's Steph. So when you look at Steph and I side by side, it's the same thing. Body composition is different. Steph, nobody would have known that she needed to lose weight, but she was depressed. Nobody knew that. She was having all these issues. She's lost 30 pounds. She has 4-pack abs, what she calls 4-pack abs, and she does. Look at her. And she hasn't done a single sit-up. She doesn't have her heartburn anymore. Her ADHD is improved. She's able to focus more. Her anxiety and depression has gotten better. So no, when I said it's not a fat person issue, it's not. You can be any size and be suffering from this. Don't let your size be the indicator of whether you think this is you or not. And then there's Dia. She's lost over 60 pounds and her whole body is changed. Like, changed. And she's gotten her life back. By the way, she's a cancer survivor, and all of the latent things that she was dealing with and in her body, in her health, in her, come on, her energy and stuff, she feels so much better from those. And then there's this young man who is a type 1 diabetic. He lost 35 pounds at 11 years old. He's older than that now, but 35 pounds at 11 years old. He said his moods are better. I got to talk to this young man in person. He's an amazing young man. He, from his mouth, said it was the easiest thing he's ever done. By the way, he's not on the quick acting insulin anymore. He's only on the long acting, and even that insulin, they've reduced the load of the insulin. So does anybody understand that even type 1 diabetics can be insulin resistant? Did anybody know that? Because I get that. I get anger about that a lot. Does anybody understand that you can be insulin resistant even if you're type 1 diabetic? So I'm glad you know that, Miss Nunbun, because most people don't. Most people are like, I'm type 1, I can't produce insulin, there's no way I could be insulin resistant. But it happens the same way in a type 1 body as it does in ours. You're just having to adjunct with the insulin, but you get so much insulin because the glucose is churning out so much. You're having to poke more and more insulin or use your pump, turn your pump up, whatever. But you can become just as resistant to the insulin as a type 2 diabetic. So what if we could resolve that root cause, reduce the load of insulin you're having? Now your tissues and cells can react more normally to the insulin that you're having to inject, and your life feels better. Will you always have to be on insulin as a type 1? Yes, I'm not saying that you won't. I'm saying that it can help that factor of being insulin resistant. Jason is a rock star. He's like, you guys, by the way, go follow Jason. He's on TikTok over here. You guys follow him. He's like, he is so super knowledgeable, sharp as a whip, dedicated. You know, when I told him to throw the scale away, I want to talk a little bit more about Jason's story. Let me come back to Jason's picture. Because not only was he suffering with all of those things, in this first picture here, you guys, with Jason, what we haven't talked about is that he was supposed to have gastric band surgery. They tried to give him medications. He had been listening to me. He's like, nope, those are going to cause damage to my body. I don't want to do that. Then the doctor calls him in and says, okay, well, we have to get this weight off of you, this weight off of him. And so we're going to do gastric surgery. And he called me and we talked, and I was like, please don't do that surgery. I can't tell people what to do, but I'm just going to tell you what I understand from the people that I've helped, and the people who've had that surgery. Number one, it's not addressing the root cause. So the root cause of what caused all of that in the first place is not solved with gastric band surgery. It's not necessarily a function of just overeating. It's a function of not getting the energy and the nutrients from the food that you are eating. So we need to fix that maybe first, right? But everyone that I've talked to and dealt with that's getting on the system, even after they had the gastric band surgery, has talked about the fact that they're having iron deficiency problems, and they're having so many more health problems than they ever had before. So again, here's a system that's 2 real food products that you can do and not have that invasive surgery, not destroy the rest of your health, and still get your life back. That's what this is. So a tea that we drink in the morning, I have some lint on my packet. A tea that we drink in the morning, again, for those of you guys who have popped in and weren't here earlier, it gives us mental energy and clarity. It helps make you feel satiated. It helps you burn fat for fuel. The locals, the indigenous people who harvest it, have lived off of this for years. They call it the food of the gods because it's so dense in nutrients. And this little packet has about 375 times the component of a regular bagged yerba mate tea for just the chlorogenic acid. So highly potent, highly concentrated. extremely pure because we took it through a process called hyper pure that removes pesticides and toxins. So this tea is amazing. It's what I'm drinking now. It's now 10:30, about an hour and a half before I eat. I'm not even hungry yet. I haven't finished my tea either. But I drink the tea several times a day just because it's giving me nutrients. So if I'm going to choose to drink something, why don't I want to nutriate my body, give my body nutrition instead of all the other stuff? By the way, this costs about half as much as a soda. It costs less than like Crystal Light and whatnot. So again, if I'm going to spend the money on something that I'm putting in my body and it's not just water, why wouldn't I put something healthy in my body that's helping build my health? So there's that. No, there's no mint in this. So there is a product called citrus mint. They're discontinuing that one. That one has mint, but it will clearly say mint. There's no mint on either one of these. Yeah, so the second product is a complex of fibers, phytonutrients, and vitamins and minerals that we drink 10 minutes before we eat anything. This is it. Real food products. That's what changed my life, Jason's life. Everybody on these slides that I show you, it's changed theirs. You'll see them on TikTok. You'll see them around because it's changed their life in such a way that they want to share it now too. So over here on TikTok, I have somebody saying, I have some pancreatic related disease and it was in the hospital. The doc told you have diabetes. So I like to link things up, right? And then you guys get to decide. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but here's the thing. Insulin resistance, which stems from hyperinsulinemia, which stems from too much stuff turning into glucose too quickly in our system. So the key is insulin, right? Too much glucose hitting the system causes too much insulin or hyperinsulinemia. That's produced by your pancreas. So probably, again, not a doctor, worked in doctor's offices, not a doctor, but my logical mind says diabetes, pancreatic issues, your pancreas has been overloaded trying to put out too much insulin for too long. Okay. And so then it starts to have problems because it just can't do that. Like our bodies are not meant for this extreme load all the time. And one thing I haven't talked about in this live today, one of the surest ways you can help with your insulin resistance is stop eating every 2 hours. Every time you spike your insulin, every time you put food in your body that's spiking your blood glucose, you're spiking your insulin, and then your pancreas is having to work again. There's a reason we do a 16-8 fast, and that's part of it. So, Mayor Addis. So, what I can tell you is, like, God only knows what my pancreas looks like because I suffered for years, not even going there. But the system has a 90-day money-back guarantee. It's real food. It helps relieve that load of insulin on your body without injecting yourself full of medications, GLP-1 agonists, and all the stuff that are causing people's, not pancreas, but liver and kidneys to shut down, causing people to have things like throat cancer and all this stuff. This is real food, so that's all it is. Okay, so it's not got those adverse reactions. I can look it up in the PDR. If anybody wants me to go to the PDR and show you these products in the prescriber's digital reference, show you the fact that Herbalife doesn't have anything in there, Kirkland doesn't have anything in there, GNC doesn't have anything in there, Q Sciences doesn't have anything in there. We have 18 different products in there. So Chrisma is asking what 16-8 is. So we do some time-based eating, and it doesn't, you guys, it doesn't have to be 16-8. You're going to get the best results with 16-8. But if you have a high energy lifestyle and you feel like you need to eat more often, fine. But let's talk about that. So 16-8 is, say I have my dinner tonight. It's probably going to be closer to 8 for me tonight. So we're going to go with that. Okay. So if I have my dinner around 8 o'clock, it takes about 2 hours for my stomach to empty, right? And it takes about another 4 hours, so around 6 hours before my blood sugars start to really normalize from the food I ingested. And then about 8 hours after I ate, if I didn't have a high carbohydrate dinner, about 8 hours, my insulin level will go down. So I'm fasting during this period because insulin is a primary hormone. It takes precedence over everything else. It wants things to grow. It's not going to let anything else do its job until it's down. So remember, 8 hours at minimum. When I first started, my glucose levels and my eating was so bad, it would be 12 hours on average before those insulin levels would drop and my blood sugar levels would be to a point where I was like, okay. And my ketones were up enough for me to be like, okay, glucagon's out to play. So now, at about a 10-hour mark, 10 hours after you ate, your glucagon, which burns fat for fuel, which switches your body from using insulin for energy to using glucagon for energy, that's when that switch makes, about 10 hours. But it takes another couple hours after that for your digestive system to start to reset, for you to get in that fat burning mode, for all of that stuff to happen. So we wait about 16 hours after our last meal. So all of these mechanisms in the body can happen, and we're able to burn fat for fuel. Glucagon is able to go do all that happens, and there's this whole myriad of things that happen when glucagon is out to play, and it's called catabolism, and so it's removing excess skin tissue and other tissues that are inflammatory markers and whatnot in the body. Not just fat happens during this process, right? So then about 16 hours I'll eat. So I ate around 8 o'clock last night. It's 10:30 today. So we're at about 14 and a half hours of fasting for me. I won't likely eat until 12:30, 1 o'clock today. Then I'll wait 4 to 6 hours within that 8-hour window, and I'll have my next meal. I'm picking up my grandson tonight. I promised him a pizza party. So here's the gold with the system. I promised my grandson a pizza party this weekend. So he's 6 years old. He spends every Friday and Saturday with me. Guess where we're going tonight? Not my choice, Chuck E. Cheese. But it allows me to have those moments with my family and not be like, oh, I got to bring my chicken and rice and broccoli to the gym, or I can't go, or I have to sit there and watch everybody else and I can't eat. Okay, that's the goal of the system. Now, I want to be clear with this too, you guys, because Jason's picture up here, do you think that Jason got to this size? Let's be realistic and let's be moralistic. Jason did not get here eating pizza and burgers every day. So I know there are some people who are out there saying like, oh, dude, you can have whatever you want. Total food freedom, do whatever. That's a bit misleading. Okay. I have pizza, I have burgers. Do I have it all day long? Am I sitting on the couch, in my 8-hour window, shoveling all this food that I know is causing problems in? No. Do I have it when I want it? Yes. But I'm not going to tell you you get to have pizza every day and get healthy. That's not going to happen here. So let's be honest and real about that. I just realized my poor people over here on Facebook are probably like, where did she go? So you guys, I want to just be upfront about that. Do you need to make some changes? Well, yeah. So remember, fiber first, fill up with fats, prioritize protein, limit your carbs. That's what you're going to do. So when I go have pizza with him tonight, I'll probably have 2 packets of Balance just to help. Okay. I also don't look forward to pizza because now that I've been on this for 2 years, I understand that every time I get a hold of seed oils, I get really sick. It's not cool. I now realize how toxic and why I was so sick. Because, by the way, if you're needing antacids and stuff all the time, take a look at those things. The amount of sugar you're eating and those seed oils, canola oil, corn oil, grapeseed oil, all of this stuff causes a lot of that. Or at least it did for me, and it has for so many other people who call me and are like, and I didn't realize how bad seed oils were for me. So the oils we do use are coconut oil, avocado oil, extra virgin oil, and regular like butter, ghee, animal fats. So that looks like it stings. Are you on the system and you're having cravings, or are you not on the system and you're having cravings? Because the system helps stop those cravings. Um, and I don't understand that, baby girl. I don't understand your comment either. There are other options for adults. This, by the way, we have 3-year-olds regularly using this. I just showed you guys an 11-year-old who uses this. My grandchildren who are 5, 6, 12, and 13. My grandson doesn't use this regularly, but the other kids do. And so, yeah, kids can use it. You can drink when you're using this. Now, by the way, a lot of people, I'm not going to make the claim for celiac, but I know a lot of people, including myself, who thought we had gluten allergies. There's an imbalance in the gut going on. For me, what happens when I got that gut balance, a lot of my food allergies relieved. I just don't have those. Like I used to have, let's talk about that in a second, but I want to address the second part of your question. You can drink and have socialize and have a couple of drinks, just have a balance when you're done drinking. It manages that. I also just choose if I'm going to have a drink, which I very rarely drink, but if I am, I'll choose something like vodka that's not going to spike my blood glucose. Okay. So, but if you're having something like a White Claw, know your glucose level is going to go up. Use this as a prophylactic for that alcohol. Okay. So if you're just starting, like, okay, to help with cravings and hunger, a couple of things you guys need to know. We started to talk about, I know there was something else I was just going to talk about. Oh, let me talk about this real quick first. That looks like it stings, and then I'm going to tell you about the cravings again. So when I started, I had really bad allergies. I had a condition which I forget to talk about because I don't suffer from it anymore. Eosinophilic esophagitis, where my esophagus would regularly every day, every time I ate, my esophagus was so restricted from the white blood cells built up in there that I would choke. Every time I ate, even sometimes drinking water, I'd go to drink water and it would get stuck in my esophagus because it was so inflamed and whatnot. I didn't think about this one thing that got better until one day I was at a restaurant with my daughter and my grandkids. They wanted to go to a Chinese buffet. And we were sitting there and we're all talking and having a good time. And I paused for a moment because my life up until 2 years ago meant that if I chose to go out to eat, I had to request a table near the bathroom or find out where the bathroom was because I knew what 90% of the time, no matter how slow I ate or what I did, I would end up choking, and it was volatile. It was tragic. It scared the crap out of people around me. It would break blood vessels in my face, my chest, my arms. It was violent. I haven't had one of those episodes in 2 years since I started the system. Crazy stuff. So when we're talking about not celiac, but gluten intolerance, that was one of them. And I'm not suffering from those anymore. So you guys, there's a lot more than just weight that happens, right? Okay, so now cravings. When I talked about 3 macronutrients, right? Fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. So you want to eat your carbohydrates last, except for I'm telling you to have fiber first, right? So have this. Fiber is a non-digestible carbohydrate. Don't try me. I know that. So fiber first. This is not going to spike your blood glucose. I'll tell you something interesting about this later if you guys want to know what this did to my ketones when I was in a fasted state. Ask, I will tell you. But so you want to do the fiber first. And then if you're having cravings, what I'm going to invite you to do is focus on your fats. So like I regularly will do olives. I will do avocado, or, I have those little holy guacamole or avocado cups. And if you don't like avocado, I can't help you, but I love them. I'll just eat the avocado cup on its own. But that fat helps help you feel satiated without adding something that's going to spike your glucose. Okay. I've listened to some doctors who talk about using avocado as they're coming off of a fast because it doesn't break the autophagy. Okay. So eat more avocado. Make sure you're getting enough protein. You can take and add, like we have a protein called Complete that's like 5 different types of protein. So it's a really balanced blend. You can mix that with your balance and drink it, because part of the reason people are getting hungry is because they're not getting enough fats, they're not getting enough protein, so they're not staying satiated because those carbs are burning right through them. Protein, by the way, does spike your insulin, but about half as much as carbohydrates do. So fats first, and then your protein, and then your carbs. But if you're having carbs and all of that, then you're going to have a balance. The only time I don't precede something with balance is like if I'm having avocados or olives, because they're not spiking your insulin. So does anybody want to know what this did to my ketones? Or I know I did a video on it a while back, why I even test my ketones instead of my blood sugars. Does anybody want to know? Just say yes if you do, because I mean, I'm geeky, so it's kind of cool to me what happened when I found this out. So when I test my ketones, I test them because remember I said blood sugars are not reliable for insulin resistance. Also, I play around a lot with, trying things out. So I did some extended fasts and I had a glucose monitor on and I checked my glucose constantly throughout the day. And what I found when I was fasting is, and this is normal for everyone, but sometimes I hear it, but it doesn't like make sense until I see it on me. That's my personality. So I had this glucose monitor on. My blood sugars, even in a fasted state without taking food in, my blood sugars were rising and falling. And that's a normal function of your body. So my blood sugars would drop down to about 60, not falling over sick, not like, oh my God, I got to go run eat something. No, your body, if you're in a normal state where you're not pumping it full of sugar first, when you're having this reactive hypoglycemia, I don't know why I try and wrap it all in at once. You're having that where you get that super low, where you're starting to feel faint and dizzy because you've just had a shit ton of sugar, and that's causing that. So when you start to regulate that out, your blood sugar can drop down to about 60, and this is according to Dr. Bickman, and I think Dr. Fung talks about it, and Dr. Pradeep has talked about it too. But and I noticed that when my blood sugar would go down to 60, I still had mental clarity. I still had energy. I wasn't feeling like I was going to fall over. It's normal and it's safe. But then my blood sugars, even without food, would start to climb back up, and they'd get up to about 130 in the absence of any food. So I'm like, huh. So if I'm fasting and I can't test my blood sugars to see where I'm going to go, what am I going to do? So I'm listening to Huberman and Bickman and all of these guys, and I'm like, oh, ketones. Ketones only come out to play when your insulin is down. So instead of, because sugar is not telling you if your insulin is up, right? Because insulin's playing with your sugar. But ketones can't come out to play if you have insulin present in your bloodstream. Okay. So when I'm in a fasted state or anytime, I will, and I want to know, like, how am I doing? How is this process going? I will test my ketones. And there's a little monitor, just like the blood sugar monitors, that you can test your ketones with. So I test those to see, am I in autophagy yet? Am I there? Am I doing whatever? By the way, I'll probably do an extended fast again at the end of this month. I do it every couple of months because it's good for resetting my metabolism. At 59, I have a lot of damage. Why I tested my ketones with this? I was in a fasted state and I thought, I want to see if this is affecting my blood sugars and my insulin levels. And so in a fasted state, I did my ketones and I wrote down the measurement, and then I drank my balance. Nothing else, just the balance. And then I waited about an hour, and then I came back and I tested my ketones again. You know what happened? They doubled. They doubled after I took the balance, because the balance is cleaning up in the gut and doing, like carrying fats and stuff out of your system and all of this amazing good stuff. I have no idea exactly the scientific terms of why that happened. But so then I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I did it again the next day, like, okay, maybe it was a fluke. The next day, it happened again. Not quite double that day because my ketones were naturally higher, but it took my ketones up almost 1 point the second day. So this, by the way, so if you're having hunger, for me, if you're on the system and you're having hunger, you can have a tea. You can eat those healthy fats, avocado and olive. You can have an extra balance. Now, I have an acidic stomach, Native American. I call it native gut. We have all the issues, right? Genetically, we're just not there yet. So, I will regularly use balance. And I use balance sometimes in place of like an antacid because it soothes my gut. It goes in, it creates that, when it hits the acids, it thickens up more, right? So now it's like engulfing those stomach acids and helping soothe it. And I'm not doing anything damaging to my body like antacids can do. So there's all of that. You guys, it's been about an hour and a half, and I love you all. But I do have a bunch of stuff to do today. I so appreciate you hanging out with me and my crazy ass. I love it that you're here learning about your health. So the system we've been talking about is the Feel Great system. And you're just going to, on TikTok, you go to my profile. Over here on Facebook, YouTube, I've dropped a link that's showing up in your Facebook and YouTube feed for my link tree that you can go to and find out how to get a hold of me, how to get a hold of the products. And you guys, I am not pushy. If you just need to get a hold of me and see, could this possibly work? Absolutely, we'll have that conversation with you. Remember, it has a 90-day money-back guarantee with it. I am going to flip the screen around, and we're going to go over one more thing before I head out. So if you have utilized, let me go back here, because these poor people over here, I keep forgetting them. Let's go here. Okay, so now they can see my screen. All right, now over here on TikTok land, you're going to come to my profile and you're going to look for those red lights right underneath my profile, right? And you get to my profile by tapping on my picture up above, same picture, red glasses, right? Click on this link. It's going to be black on your device. That's going to take you to my link tree. Now, and the link in YouTube, Facebook land, that's going to take you to the same page. You're just going to go right here to order. And I'm here for a reason. I want to show you guys a couple of things before I dip out. Number one, you want to make sure it says Michelle Fayant at the top. If you want somebody who understands and will help you through all of this, make sure you're connected to me. If you're connected to someone else, I've got to take care of my clients first. All right, so then you're just going to click the blue Buy Now button. When you get here, where'd you go? There it is. You're going to see the system. It's 30 of the tea, 60 of the pre-meal drink. You get the whole system for about $5 a day. So it's the complete system. Now, right over here, they've already pre-selected the most common selections. Now, you guys, lemon ginger is selected because we've been running low on lemon. So if you don't mind waiting a little bit of time, you can select lemon. Otherwise, I would start with the lemon ginger. You can also select black. Black is going to be going away. It's made to look, feel, and taste more like coffee. Or you can do the multi-pack, which gives you 10 of each, the lemon ginger, and the black. So either way, make your selection. That's for the tea, right? Right now, the balance only comes in one flavor, and that's a light citrus flavor. It tastes like an orange Julius. And they've already selected the option that saves you the most money. That's a subscription. That saves you $5 off the product. It saves you $10 in shipping. Plus, you get the free omega-3s this month. For your first month, you're not getting a free product every month, but as a reward for subscribing, they do this. Now, I want to talk about that really quick for everyone, because when we say subscription, you guys, it's not locked in. There's no like, you have to do this for 6 months, and you can cancel it at any time. If you just are like, this is not for me, you can cancel it. So there's no risk to you. But they also, what I love with this company is they send you an email out about 5 days before that ships again. How many of you guys have ever signed up for something and got hooked into the subscription and then you forget, and then all of a sudden next month there's all this money coming out of your account at the most inopportune time and you had no idea because nobody reminded you? Like, we're adults. Should we need to be reminded? No, but do we? Yes. the company's going to remind you. Then if you need to make any adjustments, maybe you want to do a different flavor, whatever, you can do that at that time. You can ring me up and say, hey, Misha, I need to change this. How am I going to do it? Or you can call customer service. Either one of us are going to help you. I can't change it for you, but I can tell you how to get there. Now, the exciting news, you guys, and I hope I don't get spanked for this, but they are having me and a few other people test out some new flavors of Balance. I can't tell you what the flavors are, but there's 5 new flavors that will be coming out this year so that it's not just the citrus flavor, and they're pretty good. So the company's always looking for ways to respond to our customers and their needs. And you guys, thanks for hanging out with me. If you want to give it a shot, 90-day money back guarantee. It's not harming you. It's helping you. So give it a try and see what can happen for your health. If in 90 days your health hasn't, but if in 90 days your health hasn't changed, you're going to get your money back. And you contact me or customer service, and we'll help you get through that. But here's the thing. Okay. For both of us, right? If you cannot commit today, 2 things. If you cannot commit today that you're going to give your health its best shot for 90 days and see what can happen, because everybody's body is differently. Some people are going to notice things right away. Some people are going to take a few weeks, and some people, their body is so sick it can take up to those 90 days. If you can't give it 90 days, don't even start. It's just like not even worth it. But if you can commit to yourself for 90 days, start it, because you don't have any risk. You'll get your money back if it doesn't work. All right. The second thing is, if you're doing this solely to lose weight, go somewhere else. I'm not here to sell a weight loss product. Is weight loss one of the things we highlight because it's visually the thing that people grab a hold of most? Yes. Is this a weight loss system? No. Weight loss is a side effect of everything else starting to get healthy. So if we can have that agreement, I would love to serve you and help you along the way. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side of getting your health back. And I will, I can't make promises. I'll try to go live this weekend, but I can't make any promises. I have a lot of family obligations. And that's the amazing thing with my life. Plus, I now work a job, not a job, an opportunity that allows me to have a real life. So I'm going to go grocery shopping, get a few things for my grandson, for him to be here for the weekend. And then I'm going to go get this little rambunctious 6-year-old who lights up my world. I have that freedom because of what I do. So if any of you guys are looking for a side hustle that's actually helping people, and you want to know how I Forexed my income in a year just by helping people, reach out to me. All the information is in the same places, and I would love to help you get started on that journey too, because it changed everything for me. You'll see some videos coming about where my life was 2 years ago. You won't believe it. It was pretty devastating. All right, have a good night or morning.